What's up, everybody? What's good? My name's EK. Welcome to What's Good English. This is the channel where I focus on slang, colloquialisms, African American vernacular, and other oddities of English. So if you want to hear and understand how English is really spoken, you're in the right place. Today is another Storytime Tuesday episode, and this time I'm going to be telling the story of Anansi versus Brother Death. If you don't remember the first Anansi story, or you just didn't look at it yet, you can hear it here in this link and find out how Anansi became the god of all stories. As always, I'm going to be putting up a title card here that's going to have all the different colloquialisms and slang and African American vernacular tidbits that I've thrown into the dialogue and into the narration so that you can hear those things in context and understand what they mean. All right, let's get started. Once upon a time, Anansi, the god of all stories, the man and spider, was traveling through the forest. He was very tired, very hungry, very thirsty. I don't know if he had gotten up to a bit of mischief the night before. It's probably true knowing Anansi, but anyways, he was about to just drop dead from exhaustion and just wanted to get home, get a bite to eat, relax, chill, whatever. And as he was traveling through this forest, he saw a house, and there was an old man sitting outside the house, propped up next against a tree, looked to be relaxing, looked to be almost dead. He was just completely pale, looked like just a pile of bones, like he could just fall over and die at any minute. But Anansi, super hungry, super tired, came up to this old man and said, "Hey man, I am parched. Do you think I could just get like a glass of water or something, man? Like, I've been traveling through this forest like all day. I need to, put the feet up or something, just relax for a little bit. My dogs is barking. Man, anything. Can I get like some water? Just, just sit and chill in the house for a little bit, man. I don't know if you got a sofa or something like that." And the old man didn't answer, didn't even stare at Anansi or acknowledge his presence at all. Anansi, starting to get a little frustrated, asked again, it's like, "Hey, old man, like, I know you can hear me, dude. I'm standing right here, man. Like, can I just get some water, man? Water, a sandwich or something, man? Like, dude, I'm super tired. I done told you I've been coming through this forest for like, I don't know how long, man. I just, need to sit and chill, get a bite to eat, man. I'll be on my way." Still, this old man just doesn't even acknowledge Anansi's presence, doesn't answer him, doesn't do anything. So Anansi looks up at the house and he looks back at the old man and he starts walking towards the doorway entrance, and he looks back at the old man and is like, "Hey, all right, so like if you don't want me to go up in your house and just get some water and just like a quick bite to eat, just say something right now, and then I'll just leave it alone." Know what I mean? And still, the old man did not answer anything like that. So Anansi took that as a yes. And he walked inside the house and he's looking around. He's like, "Man, this dude got food for days, man. Dude, this place is just full to the gills with just non-stop food." They had everything he could have possibly wanted to eat was there, just packed to the brim. All of the favorite desserts, all of his favorite main plates, just anything he could possibly imagine, full of food. All the cupboards full of food, all of the refrigerator full of food, just everywhere. It's like, man, how that old man just a pile of bones like that when he got all this food in here? Like, he's sitting here hoarding all this food, man. This ain't right. So Anansi just fills himself up, just non-stop eating. He yelled out the windows like, "Hey man, so I'm gonna just keep on eating, and then like if you don't want me to eat no more of this food, you just tell me to stop, because otherwise I'm gonna just be here just grubbing down." And the old man again doesn't answer, so Anansi just packs his stomach to the brim, could not possibly eat another thing, and he's just feeling so good right now. It's like, "Oh man, whoo, that was great. Hey man, old man, thank you for letting me go in here, get some food, get something to eat. I'm gonna be on my way. I'll see you later." And Anansi just walks all the way back home, doesn't say anything to his family, he just goes back home, relaxes, chill, super satisfied, like, "Oh man, that was great. I had so much good food. Whew." So the next day, Anansi wakes up and he had been thinking about that meal that he had the day before. Like, "Oh man, that old man had so much good food in that house, man. He just let me eat whatever, man. You know what? I'm finna go back over there and max again. He still got so much food left." So he goes back to the old man's house and he yells up at him like, "Oh, hey man, I'm back here. I'm gonna get me some more food, if that's all right, man. Hey, just remember, if you don't want me up in your house, you don't want me to eat this food that you got up in here, just let me know and I'll just be up on my way again." And the old man again doesn't acknowledge Anansi's presence. He knows he's alive. alive. Anansi knows this dude is living. He just does not want to answer Anansi for some reason. And Anansi's like, couldn't be bothered with it. You know what? Fine. You don't want to answer me? Cool. I'm just eat this food. I'm going to be on my way. And you know what? I might even come back tomorrow. And Anansi goes back into the house and he looks through the cupboards again. And it's like, oh man, you done re-upped all this food? Just everything was just restocked again. All the food that he had eaten the day before was back. Everything. The refrigerator full of food again. He's like, oh man, this is great. Like the homie done restocked for me. This is amazing. Oh, you a real one. And Anansi just fills himself up with food again. Man can barely walk, just hobbling home like, oh man, it was just an amazing meal. Oh, this old dude is amazing. I gotta do something for this old man. So the next day, the wheels of schemes were just grinding away in Anansi's head, and he was thinking, oh man, yeah, I'm for sure gonna go back to that old man house, get some more of that food. He re-upped the food yesterday. He probably done re-upped again. About to just max on that food all day long. Oh, this is just the life, baby. And he was thinking, and I can also kill two birds with one stone here, because he had a bit of a standoffish relationship with his eldest daughter. They weren't really on the best of terms. So he was thinking, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take her over there and I'm going to just give him her, and then they're going to get married, and then she can cook for me because she could cook so well. He always bragged about how well his daughter could cook. So the two of them went over there and he talked to the old man. The old man, again, not acknowledging Anansi or his daughter at this point. And Anansi just said, yeah, man, it's my eldest daughter, man. She going to be your wife. She's my gift to you, man. This girl can burn like nobody's business. We're going to go up in here. She's going to cook up a really great meal. And, when I'm not here, she'll cook for you. She's a super good cook, like I told you. And when I'm here, she going to cook for me too. So, it's a win-win situation for the both of us. Anansi's daughter did exactly as well as he thought she would. He was just relishing in his decision after tasting the first bite of the meal that she cooked with the completely restocked refrigerator and cupboards that were there again. He was just like, oh man, oh, this food, oh my God, I can't believe, oh, why didn't I do this yesterday? I could have had her out the house a whole day before, could have avoided so many little arguments, plus would have had this meal. Oh my God, oh, I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow for sure. As he said, and he went home even fuller than the previous 2 days, if that were even possible. He couldn't believe this, just like, oh, whew, I've never eaten this good in my life. This is amazing. Finally, the gods are smiling on me. So the next day, Anansi goes back to that old man's house, and he's acting as if they are just completely buddy-buddy on the friendliest terms ever. And he's like, oh, hey, yeah, here just to check on my daughter, get something to eat, and then I'll be about my business like I was the last couple of times. And he goes into the house, and he's like, hey, let me get some jerk chicken, rice and peas, some plankton, and some of them beef patties. And nobody answers. And Anansi goes around looking, and he cannot find his daughter. She used to love to play hide and seek when she was a kid, so Anansi thought she was just playing hide and seek with him again because she was so happy to be in this new house with this old bag of bones that never really says anything but has unlimited food. So he goes from room to room looking for her, but he can't seem to find her. And finally he thinks to himself, I know where she's hiding. And he checks the oven, and when he opens the oven door, he sees a pile of bones that look like human bones, and he sees a bracelet that his daughter was wearing. And he goes, whoa, no, what has happened? No, what is this? What's going on? And he looks out the window and he sees that the man that had been resting against the tree for the past 3 days has now gotten up and is walking towards the house. And Anansi goes to the doorway, and the old man finally speaks to him, and he says, you don't work my last nerve. This is the 4th time you don't come up in here trying to eat up all my food, trying to drink up all my drinks, taking advantage of me, taking advantage of my hospitality. I done had to restock that kitchen 3 times because of you. Then you got the nerve to bring some woman up in here, some ugly woman, and by the way, talk about she finna be my wife so that she can cook for you when you here, when I didn't even tell you to get up in this house, when I didn't even tell you you could do anything that you done did up in this house for the past 3 days. Nah, man, nah, we ain't cool. We ain't cool. And Anansi's like, hold up. You ain't said now word to me when I was coming up in here. I told you if you ain't want me to get up in this house, that you need to tell me to not get up in this house. Or you could have just told me to just go ahead and be up on my way when I asked you the first time 4 days ago. Now you done ate my daughter." He was like, "Yeah, that's right. I done ate your daughter. I hated her. She reminded me of you, so I ate her, and I'm gonna eat you next. You are my intended target, and you don't even know who I am." And Anansi's like, "Well, who are you?" And the man looked at him and he said, "I am death." And he opened his jaws wider than any animal Anansi had ever seen in his life. And there was just a black void of nothingness and horrors inside of there waiting for him. And Anansi was quickly able to duck and dodge and zigzag away from every single one of Death's advances. And eventually he escaped the house and he began running. But Death was always right behind him. And just when Anansi would pick up his pace and put a bit of distance in between them, or what he thought was distance in between them, he would look over his shoulder and Death would be right there, almost ready to clutch at him again. He crossed rivers and he looked behind him again, and Death was wading through the water faster than any animal that he'd ever seen swim, and right back on his heels. And finally Anansi sees a tree and he decides to climb up this tree to see if Death can climb, and to his surprise, Death couldn't climb. Death, just very angry at this point, began to throw rocks and twigs and anything that he could into the trees to try to hit Anansi and knock him down, and he couldn't manage to get a clear shot, and every time he threw something up there, he missed. And one of the times he hit a large acorn that fell and it landed on Death's head, which gave Anansi enough time to escape and get all the way home. As soon as he gets to his house and he sees his wife out in the yard, he yells to her, "Cookie! Cookie, get into the kitchen real quick. Get into the kitchen, get the kids, tell the kids to climb up onto the ceiling and stay there. Something's about to happen." And him and his wife and his children all just climb up onto the ceiling, and they hold the top of that ceiling just like spiders when you see them climbing up on the ceiling. And Death burst into the door and he's like, "You, I just want you. You are the only one that I want, and I will leave your family alone. Now come on, let me eat you." Anansi rebuttals back to Death, "No, you will not eat me. You will never eat me. Never, ever, not gonna happen." And he tells his children and his wife to just stay strong and hold the ceiling. He cannot get us if we just stay on the ceiling. Death cannot climb. I've been in this tree for like 2 hours. He couldn't do nothing but throw rocks. We are good right up here on the ceiling. Just hold on like good little spiders. But eventually fatigue begins to set in, and one by one his children fall into the bag that Death has placed below all of the spiders. And every time one of the children fall, Death says, "Look at what you've done. Another one of your children has fallen into the bag." And as this final third child falls into the bag, he looks back up at Anansi and says, "Look at all of the destruction that you are causing within your family. I only want you. I will let your wife live, and she will live out the rest of her days in peace if you will just allow me to eat you. Just give it up. It's over." And he says no. And his wife, as she finally begins to fatigue and she starts to fall, she screams, "You did this to us!" And she falls into Death's bag. Now Anansi was able to hold on for a few hours longer, but eventually the fatigue was getting to him as well. So the wheels of the schemes were turning and grinding again, and he calls out to Death. He's like, "All right, you know what? You win. You win, brother Death. You win. I'm gonna fall. But like, I've been eating so good, for the past 3 days. I mean, you were there. I had all that good food, but like, if I hit that ground, I'm gonna splat and it's gonna be all over, and you're gonna be able to eat me, right? You know what? My wife, she cooks real good, and like we got like loads of food here in the house. We got like a big bag of flour over there in the kitchen. If you put the bag of flour under me, I'll fall in that, and then basically I'll be breaded. We got some grease sitting over there on the stove. You can just deep fry me, man. I'm gonna taste real good, man." And Death thinks, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. I'll get some spices, get some flour, bread you up. Then I'm gonna, deep fry you. Like, yeah, deep fried spider. That's where it's at. So Death does this, and he gets the bag of spices and the bag of flour, and he sets that right under Anansi, and Anansi lets go, and then sploosh, he falls into the bag, but poof, all of the flour and all of the spices just pop up, and Death begins to sneeze uncontrollably. Just, while Death is having this fit of sneezes, Anansi goes into Death's bag and he releases his wife and his 3 children, and they all escape the house, and they've all been escaping Death ever since. So anytime you see a spider or a spider web in the corner of your ceiling, just know that that is Anansi and his descendants still hanging out on the ceiling, escaping their doom. There are actually two different morals to the story. There's the Jamaican one, which basically says that when you court death, death will come for you, but everyone that you love will be the ones that are actually hurt by death. As you can see in the story, death did not intend to hurt anyone else but Anansi. But everyone that Anansi loves were the ones that were actually hurt by death and put into death's bag. And the same thing for Anansi. He did not intend to hurt anyone by courting death, by going to see death all of these times. However, he got his family hurt in the process. The second moral is from Africa, and it's not really as much of a moral as it is an outlook on life. This is a West African legend. These are the people that were involved in the slave trade. They were taken from Africa. They were put stacked up on top of each other in those ships through the Middle Passage. Most of them did not survive the journey. The ones that did didn't have a good time of it as soon as they arrived into the Caribbean or into the Americas. They were beaten horribly. They were treated extremely unjustly, to say the least of it. They were made to work for hours upon hours on end and told that they were stupid and uneducated. They weren't allowed to worship their gods or to practice their religion from their homeland. They weren't even allowed to speak their mother tongues. They had to learn this language that nobody wanted to bother to teach them, other than just some phrases like yes sir, no sir, do you want more of this and that sort of thing. They were, and their descendants were, told that they were less than human and treated as such. They were scientifically experimented on and had their grave plots robbed so that hospitals could have cadavers for their doctors to practice on. They were told that they don't feel or experience pain in the same way as normal people do. After winning freedom, everything was done to keep them separate, silence their voices, and take away their right to vote and any sorts of political power. Even when they started to get ahead working on their own, communities were massacred, including one that was even firebombed by their neighbors. Even after winning equality through civil rights, we were still told things like, oh, your hair is too unprofessional to work here, when it was just doing what it naturally does when it grows out of our heads. And still, all the other craziness that we have to put up with, we are still here and we are still enduring. Trayvon Martin, Amadou Diallo, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Botman Jean, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. We endured all this and will continue to endure. We are still holding on to that ceiling, and brother Death, you ain't never gonna catch us. That's the episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. I know I got a little bit real at the end there, but I think it's quite necessary. And it's a great story with great morals. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode for the day. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Leave me a like if you liked it. Subscribe, support the channel, and I will be back again in a few days. Ciao.